Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Greetings and welcome and congratulations to PAFA's low-res graduating class of 2024. I am Dr. Sonia Bashiva Magnon, PAFA's new Chief Learning Officer. I want to extend a warm welcome to the families, friends, and supporters of these graduates. Your unwavering support has been integral to their success, and for that, we are deeply grateful. I also want to recognize, acknowledge, and thank PAFA's dedicated faculty for their hard work in imparting knowledge, skills, and expertise to produce a graduating class that continues PAFA's 200-plus year legacy of world-renowned artists. And finally, I want to recognize our amazing staff who work tirelessly behind the scenes to make this all look so very easy. Please give them a round of applause. In my 2 months at this incredible institution, I've had the pleasure of visiting your open studios and seeing the incredible work and the projects that represent the culmination of your 2 years in the program. The caliber of work you have produced is a testament to the best of what PAFA has to offer, and we are so very proud of you. I am aware that this past year has been challenging, with various announcements of teach out and the loss of faculty members. I have spoken with many of you about your hopes for the future of this program. I want you to know that we understand the difficulties that you faced, and we're here to support you. I am pleased to announce that we are working to retain the low-res MFA program. We understand, yes. We understand the importance of this program and are extremely proud of the caliber of artists it has produced that contributes to the cultural and the artistic fabric of Philadelphia and our country. On behalf of PAFA, President Eric Pryor, the Board of Trustees, and governors, I salute each and every one of you and welcome you into our family of PAFA alumni. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. I am Dr. Kevin Richards, and I am the chair of the graduate programs at the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts. Over the past 112 weeks, the students comprising the 8th graduating class of the low residency MFA program at PAFA have demonstrated extraordinary creativity in concert with tremendous resiliency as they navigate not only the demands of the program's curriculum, the ways it challenged them to think differently about art, about their practice, their purpose as an artist, but also as they negotiate the demands of life beyond the classroom, maintaining jobs, families, and in some cases, responsibilities as art educators, even as they tried to find time for the demands of the graduate education being provided to them through the low residency MFA program at PAFA. The work in their thesis exhibition, Above and Below, bears witness to what they have achieved and how they have grown collectively and individually as artists over the past 26 months. It is the result of incredible dedication to their studio practice, buttressed by the unwavering support of their friends, family, partners, and classmates. In addition to their individual efforts and the support of friends, family, and partners, the work in the galleries also bears witness to the efforts of the faculty and staff at the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts, and I want to acknowledge the faculty that have worked with and inspired our students during their time of study, including Tom Cesar, Renee Folks, Scott Noel, Eileen Neff, David Dempewolf, Alexis Granwell, Matthew Delegate, Amy Lee Ketchum, Mark Andre Robinson, Doa Lee, Stephen DeFalla, Kate Moran, and Michael Gallagher. In addition, incredible support has been provided by the shops and facilities at PAFA, and I would like to acknowledge the contributions of John Grieg, Justine Ditto, Brian Duffy, Jade Alderman, Matt Sawyer, Bethany Souza, and CJ Stahl. In addition, an extra special thanks raised to the nth degree to Kate McCammon and her tireless efforts to support both students and faculty. She helps make everything possible, and we all appreciate her timeliness and attention to detail. We are all greatly in debt to her diligence and commitment to our institution. So applause for... I'm trying to see where Kate's hiding as I put her on the spot. I would like to now introduce our graduation speaker. As among the faculty who our students had an opportunity to work with was Doa Lee, who returns today to speak to our graduating students. Born in Seoul, South Korea, Doa is an interdisciplinary visual artist who earned her MFA from the University of Pennsylvania after receiving her BFA with a concentration in painting and printmaking at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. Doa's work combines quilting, embroidery, painting, drawing, photography, printmaking, and other media to critically analyze the structures and strictures of race, gender, and sexuality, especially as they coalesce through stereotypes and societal demands. In particular, she explores experiences of cultural displacement, examining the ways that she is perceived differently in South Korea and America, belonging to both and neither at the same time. Her work draws upon high and low culture, Western and Korean culture, and the fraught landscape of the digital age, looking to how language and communication navigate a potentially numbing world of screens that can easily seduce us into a realm of techno-narcosis, losing sight of self-care, connection, and empathy, the very bonds that hold communities together. Among Doa's accomplishments, she has been a resident artist at the Vermont Studio Center and the Cheltenham Center for the Arts, and has been a curator and member of the artist-run Space Fjord Gallery in Philadelphia. She has taught at Virginia Commonwealth University, the Fleischer Art Memorial in Philadelphia, and the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts. She currently is an assistant professor of art at Penn State University. Her work has been featured in numerous exhibitions in Baltimore, Chicago, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, and Seoul, Korea, including the 2019 exhibition Chinatown Sailor Moon at Practice Gallery in Philadelphia, and the 2022 exhibition Take Care of Yourself at the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts. I know it has been a tremendous honor for myself and our students to get to know Doa as an artist, educator, and individual. Please join me in welcoming our graduation speaker, Doa Lee.
Okay, first, thank you so much for the kind introduction, Dr. Richard, and also for inviting me to share in these special moments. It is truly an honor to be here to join with you in celebrating the 2024 Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts Low Residency MFA graduation. As a former faculty member, this institution holds a special place in my heart. I had a privilege of conducting one-on-one studio visits with many of you and getting to know your practices. As the first and oldest art museum and art school in the United States, PAFA has a rich history that you're now part of it. You're not only connecting with that history, but also make your own mark on it. I'm thrilled to celebrate this significant milestone with all of you. Many of you already have a full-time job, and deciding to earn a master's degree is not easy. It requires significant commitment, almost like taking 2 full-time jobs. Being in school and creating art can be a never-ending battle filled with self-doubt. We constantly question whether our work is good enough or if it will be appreciated. Sometimes we feel like great artists, and other times like imposters. It is a roller coaster of confidence as we spend countless hours in our studio creating our body of work. It is truly a battle with oneself. But you're the individual who chose to follow your heart and passion by joining this MFA program while simultaneously managing full-time jobs, family responsibilities, and balancing your studies. You have navigated late-night studio sections, virtual critiques, and intense residency requirements, all while weaving your art into in the fabric of your daily life. Your dedication is truly commendable. Last summer, I had the privilege of spending time with many of you as one of the visiting critics. It was an honor to engage in conversations with you, listening to the vulnerable moment where you discuss your work, seeking growth and learning. I'm grateful for the opportunity to witness your determination and drive, seeing how some of you came from far away, even the West Coast, to participate in this intense program with joy and dedication was incredibly inspiring. You hone your skills and experimented with your material outside your comfort zones to expand your horizon. Your dedication, discipline, and resilience are evidence in the remarkable work you have created throughout the program and the thesis exhibition. I believe your journey through this program has been one of profound growth and transformation. You have navigated your unique paths, bringing your perspectives, experiences, and visions to your work. Just look at the incredible work you have created in the thesis show. As you step into the next chapter of artistic career, remember that the journey of an artist is one of the continuous learning and growth. Your story will continue as long as you keep making art. Art making is self-driven. After graduation, no one will ask you to make art or consistently support you with studio visits. That's true. You must be self-motivated to keep making art, which can be challenging while juggling everyday life. And it is easy to give up, but persistence is key. Creating small pieces is okay. Not completing a major project is okay. Embrace the idea of producing bad art every day. This mindset can free you to start again if you feel stuck. And remember, it is also okay to take breaks. And if your break extended longer than what you expected, that is fine too. Life is unpredictable. And sometimes we are our own harshest critics. Be kind to yourself. Your form of art could be cooking dinner for your loved ones, or teaching, sharing your insight with your students, or being an active community member. I believe understanding life is the first step to becoming a good artist. Focusing on creating your own story, do not compare yourself to others. I know we live in the Instagram era, so it is really hard to ignore the many voices and comparisons presented through split-second image of others' life. Your timeline is unique. Move at your own pace and carve your own story. Achieving a teaching position in higher education or having a big show is a common goal for graduates. But do not let that define your self-worth. You're more than your resume. Your impact on the world is not defined by a piece of paper. Be resilient. Rejection and criticism are part of artistic journey. Use them as a fuel to refine your craft and push your boundaries. When I graduated my MFA program, I applied to many prestigious art residency and teaching positions, expecting at least one to come through. Instead, I received rejection email from every single program. I remember taking a Greyhound bus to see Whitney Biennial with my friend, both of us miserable, and wondering how others got the chance to be part of the show while we did not. I felt always awkward attending First Friday gallery openings, blaming my cultural and language barrier as a non-native English speaker with an accent. I struggled to find my place in the art world, and I felt I could never be part of it. During this challenging time, I started asking accomplished artists how they reached their status. Every single one said I was lucky. And that frustrated me because it made me feel I'm not lucky enough. To be honest, I'm still figuring it out. But now I know what they mean by I was lucky. Gratitude. Yes, they're lucky, and we can be lucky too. If they did it, we can do it too. My journey was not direct pathway. I had to take a break to balancing my personal struggles. But these experiences taught me how to be resilient, understanding other people, and help my students, and really fully realize how grateful I am to practice art in life as an artist. Be kind to yourself and each other. This might be the secret to networking. Support one another and stay connected with your community, your fellow artists and mentor. This relationship can be open doors to new opportunities and collaborations. I believe art is the most powerful language for communicating and expressing who you are. Be honest with your artwork and remember to create and sharing it with your community. Share your unique perspective on the world. During studio visits or group critique, you may encounter many voices surrounding your artwork. But always listen to your own voice. Create art for yourself, not for others. Your voice matters, and people want to hear it. In the world often seems divided, your work can serve as a bridge to connecting people, ideas, and cultures. Stay true to your vision and continue pursuing your passion. You have deepened not only your skill, but also understanding of yourself both personally and professionally. This insight and technique you have gained here will serve as a solid foundation for your future endeavors. Embrace the unknown and take risks and continue to push the boundary of your creativity. Follow your callings and keep discovering your personal path just as you did here. Before I close my speech, I want to express my deepest admiration for each of you: Jason Berg, Sofia Camacho, Marjorie May Baxter-Cercado, Julia Haynes, Mark Patry, Kate Powell, and Brighton Dermares Smith, and Carla Renee Taylor. As you showed me during my visit, stay curious and open to learning. You have a special gift for translating your vision into the language of art. Artists are those who find and create meanings in the world and ask insightful questions. The beauty of becoming artists is that there's no textbook or prescribed pathway. You create your own story with endless possibilities. Thank you for sharing your vision and talents. Your hard work, passion, and commitment have brought you to this moment. You are now part of the PAFA's rich legacy, a legacy that you will continue to shape and refine. I'm excited for the work that you will create and the stories that you will tell. Congratulations to the class of 2024.
Thank you, Doa, for all the wisdom and inspiration of your words, but also all that you have provided our students over the years as a critic and all that you provide viewers with your work as an artist. We turn now to the announcement of the award winners, followed by the conferring of the MFA degrees to our new class of graduates. First, the Low Residency MFA program is fortunate to have 2 awards to give out to students graduating this year. The first award is the O'Neill Rubin Award. The O'Neill Rubin Award was established in 2017 through the generosity of board member James O'Neill and his partner architect David Rubin. The award recognizes a graduating student from the Low Residency MFA program for the excellence of their thesis presentation and the strength of their artistic efforts over the course of the program. The O'Neill Rubin Award goes to 2 recipients this year. The first winner executed a potent installation utilizing printmaking, ceramics, as well as other media to explore themes around motherhood, femininity, protection, anxiety, joy, and sorrow, exploring these facets of being with exquisite emotional sensitivity. Their work displays tremendous courage in confronting vulnerable moments of tenderness, working through memories both ecstatic and unsettling. The first recipient of the O'Neill Rubin Award is Carla Taylor. The second winner utilized installation as a compelling medium to try to articulate powerful experiences of loss, mourning, and memory centered on their mother, while looking to how her life intersects with institutional forces and barriers, manifestations of latent and explicit racist ideology arrayed against women of color, while also poetically and poignantly exploring the intersections between mother and child and their parallel struggles with mental health, emotional well-being, and trying to survive an anti-Black world through creativity and work. The second winner of the O'Neill Rubin Award is Jason Bird. The second award we have to confer is the Kathleen Bunke Frame Memorial Award. In memory of beloved PAFA student and artist Kathleen Bunke Frame, this award was established through the generosity of Bunke's family and friends. The Bunke Frame Memorial Award is given to a student who exemplifies the tremendous spirit, positive outlook, and generous nature embodied by Bunke. This year's recipient of the Kathleen Bunke Frame Memorial Award explores questions around diasporic longing in their work, considering the emotional and physical labor marking the Filipinx community while trying to foreground the importance of collaboration and connecting with others through shared experiences of struggle. She also embraced the experience of Philadelphia, connecting not only with her classmates across graduate programs, but across the city, meeting others with positivity and compassion. This year's Kathleen Bunke Frame Memorial Award goes to Marjorie May Sarkakis. Next, I would like to acknowledge the accomplishments of all the 2024 low residency MFA graduates. In presenting each student for their degree, I will say a few words about them and their work. As I say your name, please rise, and after I briefly introduce you, come up to receive your degree from Kate Moran. Kate, come on up to join us, and see Sonia as well. And we'll get started here. First, Jason Bird. You can sit, you don't have to stand. You can stand after, how about that? Yeah. I'll congratulate JD and then you can stand. Yeah, that sounds better, because we'll get through this. How does one deal with loss, with pain, with rage? How does one represent another person's life, their struggles, their hopes, their hustle, their positivity, their doubt? Impossible, yet always on the edge of the possible. An interminable process of remembering, of putting back together what can never be put back together, because what is being put back together was always already undergoing a process of putting back together what can never be put back together. No matter how much one hoards, then organizes and reorganizes, and hoards some more and organizes some more, the process is never finished, it always remains. The impossibility of such a project and its simultaneous necessity is evident throughout the work of Jason Bird. From the calm, meticulous organization of documents and materials before entering into their works, to the chaos, violence, and rawness of their collages, to the tenderness, elegance, grace, and humor embedded within the same collages, incredible worlds of complexity slowly emerge as one spends time with the work. A work that speaks about time on a generational scale, spanning lifetimes and encompassing a plethora of voices. A collage and assemblage of images and sound that make present an absence, even as it makes apparent how any representation, how any singular life may be adequately represented. But it can be remembered. Art can bear witness, and through bearing witness, it can remember what can never adequately be remembered, put back together. Jason's work finds a way to express such an aesthetic that also addresses the multiple layers to well-being, from emotional well-being to physical well-being, from spiritual well-being to material well-being, doing so through a constant processing of visual and auditory materials, working these materials but never forcing these materials into a hierarchy, allowing their power, their narrative to be revealed, never tidy but never concealed, always touched and touching, never formulaic. It is an emotional journey that is raw and sensitive, but rewarding and powerful, the byproduct of incredible labor by Jason, a mournful labor of love and necessity. Jason's work also poses a powerful paradox. While a multimedia installation of art, Jason's work also presents an expanded documentary film if one takes on the almost hour-long audio collage loop as a soundscape to accompany the viewer's visual exploration. The audio recordings in conjunction with the visual material comprising the installation offer the viewer a journey that rivals the most compelling of traditional documentary film. Both work of art and a work documenting the artist's mother, Jason courageously maps an emotional landscape overflowing with pain and joy, happiness and trauma, hope and despair, doing so with sensitivity and care, necessity and reflection, love and devotion. Thank you, and congratulations, Jason. Sophia Camacho, hey. Get ready. Who are you? Do you get me? In a sense, we are bombarded by these questions throughout our lives, from others and institutions, but perhaps initially and most unsettlingly, yet soothingly, by the one looking in the mirror. A self-interrogation that begins with a voice more inside us than us, that asks who we are, even as we wonder if we get this voice, and does this voice get me? This voice that is more inside me than my own voice. But is it my own voice? And is it singular? Are there voices inside my head? Or are they outside my head? Or is this even our head? Whose head is this anyway? And which one of these voices should leave first? What happens when the voices in one's heads, the voices from outside one's head, the voices from society, from social media, from institutions of culture, to institutions of education become externalized? What happens when they become internalized? What happens when the voices are both inside and outside your head? Better yet, what happens if they become puppets? Or even better yet, what if they become not puppets? Sophia's work questions, both craftily and naively, with clumsiness and a knowing wink, issues around gender and identity, refusing to be a singular being as they navigate a cacophony of voices that are both inside and outside their head, playing with archetypes, but also playing with tropes culled from genre cinema. In dealing with identity through puppetry, horror, and the absurd, Sophia's work approaches terrain tilled by post-Lacanian thought, building on the ground of the French psychoanalyst's work that provided fertile soil for Carol Clover's theory of the final girl. Pointing towards the symptom, or synthetic person, Sophia's work constructs narratives that forge identity as being fluid and multiple, resisting the static symbolic categories that structure and stricture patriarchal society, refusing to be singular. Of course, what makes Sophia's work infinitely more engaging than post-Lacanian thought is that it involves humor and puppets. Or are they puppets? And is it humor? Sophia's work uses what may at first seem to be comfortable forms, soft sculptures obeying expectations that may at first seem reassuring and entertaining. Yet beneath the veneer of the comforting is the unsettling, a cradle of thought as much as a cradle of care. Her video installation cradle plays on the familiar while also indicating how the familiar quickly can slip into the unfamiliar, of the proximate difference between the home-like and the unhome-like, of there being no place like home and only a home that is in your head, but a head that you cannot move back into because there are other people there living inside your head. Within these humorous narratives are serious thoughts that struggle with all the other thoughts, the longings and fears, anxieties and hopes, despairs and joy, the everythingness of it all. A cradle that houses all the questions that persist within us, a crypt only for the brave and creative to keep watch over and make work from. Thank you and congratulations. Marjorie May Bactul Cercato. Hey, Marjorie. What does it mean to long to belong to somewhere where one has never been, a place where one longs to belong but does not know if they belong? What does it mean to belong in two places and no place at once, to always long to belong elsewhere no matter where one belongs, and to always question whether one belongs elsewhere from where they belong? The questions raised by diasporic longing are explored through Marjorie May Cercato's work, questions that are not simple to present, let alone represent, while also pointing to the way that these questions are never singular or the experience of one individual. Marjorie's work has explored the Filipinx diaspora, considering questions of labor and global economics, how these forces point to systems implicating and impacting whole populations, while also making visible aspects to essential labor that point to larger institutional questions. This perhaps comes forward most forcefully in their work engaging with nursing and the disproportionate impact of COVID on the Filipinx healthcare workers. Their research and consideration of the Filipinx diaspora in their written thesis also considered the larger impact of global capitalism, how economic forces combined with government policies drew people away from the Philippines to the United States, a narrative that directly intersects with Marjorie's own life. In considering the question of labor, Marjorie also considers some of the larger implications of labor, not only through subjects that offer direct allusions to questions around global capital, but also through the labor of processes engaged by their materials. Marble and bronze, textiles and ceramics, each bears a mark, a testimony to the labor of hands, an element of touch that is also an element of connection, a connection to others and to other generations, something embodied and embedded not only in the literal hand throughout Marjorie's work, but also in the artist's touch, a touch that offers others to touch, to think about how in a community we reach others through care, through the touch of emotional connection. These connections happen through a process that is neither passive nor active, and does not simply happen through visual means. In mapping emotional connections, Marjorie also utilizes scent, considering how smell can conjure memory in place, as well as provide a sense of displacement when encountered in unfamiliar locations and situations. Smell also may trigger emotional connection, leading to memory and longing, a scent of time that is more than nostalgia, but rather a tangible sense of scent, and tangible sense and scent, alliterativeness, of place and time, of a home that is never our home, but a home for all. Thank you and congratulations, Marjorie. Brighton Demaris Smith. Brighton is a painter of great breadth and depth, even as his paintings at first glance may seem as easy as a warm, dry breeze that gently cools one on a warm evening. This ease is quickly complicated when one sees upon closer examination the incredible range, subtlety, and play that is carefully crafted within each piece. They give evidence not only to the amount of skill that Brighton possessed coming into our program, but the amount of effort and willingness to challenge his practice that helped yield the results that are present in the work on display, work that would have seemed impossible 2 years ago. Brighton's work bears witness not only to the physical labor that went into their production, but also the intellectual and emotional labor that his work has entailed. This involves not only the challenges of being away from family and enduring loss, but also the labor involved in not letting yourself be comfortable and being willing to try things that go against the grain of one's ingrained aesthetics. It also involves an intellectual labor, one that is evident not only in Brighton's lengthy written thesis, but also in that this thesis led to a second lengthy study into the work of the artist Agnes Pelton. This intellectual labor, however, is informative. Not only does it help to buttress the sense of art history embedded in the technical narrative of Brighton's works, they also are there conceptually, as his work is infused with metaphysical questions surrounding the question of being, as well as spiritual questions around what exists beyond being. In his views of skies seen either from planes or another plane of existence, Brighton offers, through a seemingly simple motif, meditations on the unbearable lightness of being, the ascendance of the soul, Constable, Turner, as well as a whole bunch of other artists with their heads up in the sky. In addition to the ontological questions concerning technology and the whole angst-laden tradition of continental thought that has tarried with the negative, with nothingness, a contemplation on the naughtiness of the not, of how nothing only leaves more nothing behind, waiting to become something, so that nothing from nothing leaves something, even if that something is a whole lot more of a big nothing. At least that is something. I think. Therefore, I am tied up in knots. Art, at least for a moment, in Brighton's work, allows these knots to become untangled, if only ever briefly. Thank you, and congratulations, Brighton. Julia Haynes. Julia's work considers homes and neighborhoods, ruminating on what makes a community and what builds barriers to community. Her work considers questions about belonging in a neighborhood and, by extension, about belonging in a society. In looking to forms that may seem at first most familiar, the home, her work broaches questions around gentrification, individuality, domesticity, and gender, while also raising questions around security and safe spaces. Questions that also involve issues around queer identity and queer space, about how these are not singular spaces or singular identities. In exploring these issues, Julia draws upon textiles, utilizing their associations with domesticity to explore mythologies around the home. She also incorporates printmaking, utilizing textiles and printmaking to open up questions not just around the home, but also around built environments and their relationships to nature and natural environments. In doing so, Julia touches upon the way that neighborhoods develop identities through a complicated play of individuality and homogeneity. While one row home after another may bear a familiar form, the expressivity of the window becomes a way to lend individuality and expression, a space where the public face drops down to reveal the individual behind the domestic mask, a paradoxical mask that knowingly faces the public. At the same time, however, as Julia examines the strange play of sameness and difference that marks the home, her work also considers the proximity of insecurity, the way that the home, a space that should offer comfort, may easily become a space of vulnerability and insecurity, a structure with multiple levels of anxiety, the proximity of comfort and discomfort. In her thesis, she considers how these questions around the domestic intersect with queer identity, writing, quote, "The queer body is very much public, so what is gained by making art about the shadowy interior of the domestic? Domestic principles are implicitly hetero, so how can queer theory inform discourse around architecture and design? When queer artists create work regarding domesticity, The results, to a heteronormative audience, range from relatable to uncanny, to salacious to horrifying. The public's fetishization of queer people inevitably sensationalizes and others the artist, which is unfortunate because queer artists present greatly differing views of their status in the world's complexities, end quote. In reflecting on these questions, Julia's work has embraced a multidisciplinary trajectory, speculating on materials that can materialize the complexities of her own experience, but are not limited to or by her experience. Or as she more succinctly puts it later in her thesis, quote, "The domestic sphere can hopefully provide safety, although that is not often the case. So queer people interpret interiors in many ways, as a living room, on a stage, in the shower, in a park, in a womb, at a dinner party, or on a screen. Throughout these spaces, the past is altered to make sense of the present," end quote. It has been a great honor to see how Julia's practice as an artist has changed as she continues to sift through the past to make sense of the present in preparation for the future. Thank you and congratulations. Mark Partridge. Mark uses a range of media, most notably painting, collage, drawing, and photography, to create works that explore a space between abstraction and representation, between specificity and raw materiality, that attempt to chart areas of hybridity, third spaces where the dual and dueling cultural experiences forming Mark's core coalesce themselves not into some harmonious whole, but rather a cacophonous space of vibrant collisions that find order within chaos and chaos within order, that see the limits to any system and the unlimited possibilities posed by the speculative terrain of the visual arts. Mark articulates this eloquently in his written thesis. He writes, quote, "Creating art is not a linear process. The creation of art is a complex and iterative process as the artist negotiates his external context or environment and responds to a myriad of stimuli, both personal and cultural. Multiple facets of the artist's personality and emotions are involved throughout the creative process. It is the interdependency of all these dynamics that co-creates art, a synergistic expression that is greater than the sum of its parts. Therefore, this process may only be understood by thoughtful assessment of its dynamic nature. In humans, memory acts as an information or a data repository and retrieval system that frames new action. The information stored are mainly personal or cultural related experiences which reside in the conscious or unconscious, and which the artist recalls and refers to in the pursuit of their intended artistic creation. To the artist, memories evoke temporal emotions and feelings that are decoded and recorded on a particular physical or virtual surface through the application of a specific technique, colors, forms, lines, movements, text, etc." End quote. In addition to the force of his work, Mark's journey has also been remarkable, giving evidence to the power of art to save. Recognizing the soul-sapping nature of the realm of law, business, and the rule of profit, he left it behind, and in the visual arts he found something that refilled and refueled his soul, leading him to bring incredible passion and energy to his work, an energy that is evident in the works that are part of his thesis exhibition. His work gives rise to memories, often from his childhood in Puerto Rico, manifesting through fragments of language, flashes of color, forms of domestic spaces, implications of sound, and other hauntological traces of living in two worlds at once and a whole other world altogether. A third space that is the most familiar of spaces, but a space that becomes both strange and familiar again through the fragments and marks that trace this cartography of never-ending, boundless space, a speculative space that always faces the future while charting the past. It has been an honor to bear witness to this journey over the past 2 years. Thank you, and congratulations, Mark. more noise. There it was. Good, good. Kate Powell. What does it all mean? Is there a key, or will it just be a literal key? And what would the key unlock? Would I poke someone's eye out with the key if I put it in the lock of a door? Would I poke my own eye out? Kate's work leads to such flights of fancy, even as it makes me fancy thinking about fancy first-class flights or well-dressed individuals being launched into flight. Such thoughts may be fanciful in considering most artists, but Kate's work provokes and almost encourages such a play with language and image. A play with language that comes proximate to the play of trompe-l'oeil, playing tricks on the eye as well as the mind, even brushing, dare I say, on the dialectic between mind and eye, as well as the, there we go, that was a period, that should have been a full period. Trust your internal sense of syntax. Her work brings out a proximity between the linguistic and visual, of how images begin to becoming complicated when considered linguistically, while language becomes even more abstract when made literal, and literally elusive and elusive, as it does in so many moments within Kate's work. Yet the humor and absurdity in Kate's work is also rooted in the banality of the everyday, a banality that bears latent proximity to absurdity, the absurdity of everyday life. It also broaches, however, the absurdity of the grandiose, of the mythic, from Leda and the Swan to the swan song of the cowboy. The ease of the humor in Kate's work also covers over at first glance not only the elusive complexity that often drives her work forward, but also the wealth of research and consideration that goes into her work, a care that bridges her studio practice from hand to mind, a practice rooted in looking to the overlooked within the world most proximate to the artist. Her studio practice coming into our program was rooted in observational painting, but in observing the absurdity of everyday life, Kate has been able to bridge observational painting with observational humor. The traces of her skills as an observational painter are still evident within her installation, its attention to detail, even as the humor and play across work, media, and cells give rise to the way that art provides a means of making sense of the nonsense, to be both amazed by the simplest things and find meaningful connection through the most trivially important details. Kate Powell's work charts this space between the grandiose and utterly insignificant, mining narratives of absurdly foolish gold that marks us all as fools at some point or another. Minor epics and epically minimal, they maximize illusions that question illusions around gender and sexuality, while noting that not all that glitters is gold, but that doesn't mean it isn't satisfying to look at. Thank you, and congratulations to you. Carla Renee Taylor. Carla's work considers motherhood, drawing upon her direct experience, but using her skill as an artist and her ability to draw upon symbolic imagery to make her memories matter in ways that matter to others and materialize points of resonance, helping open access to the web of images and visions that populate her installation and work. Carla has grown tremendously during her time in the graduate program, resulting in not only the incredible range of materials present in her thesis installation, but also the range of visual vocabularies, ranging from representational forms to raw thread, from stains to patterns, from the familiar to the unfamiliar. In exploring the maternal, Carla considers questions of protection and safety, as well as the anxieties, fears, and uncertainties that come with being a parent, being a person, and being a woman. In choosing her materials, such as textiles, Carla makes use of materials that historically have been marginalized and associated with women, in the shadows of the so-called grandmasters of patriarchal art. These materials engage the domestic, buttressing the maternal narrative while also extending the narrative around gender, making it a generational narrative between mother and daughter, part of an ever-flowing chain of mothers and daughters, an Ariadne's thread through a labyrinth with no center, no minotaur, no men, and no bowl, just the bounds of sisterhood and motherhood, forming a matrixial border space that escapes the specious domestic space of looming patriarchal shadows, for an ever-changing space of emergence and disintegration, of coming to be and leaving behind, of the double bind of loving and loathing that bonds mother and daughter, one after and before the other, in a loom producing the web of life. Carla has displayed incredible courage in pushing her work into the territory and processes that she is exploring, a space where physical labor challenges emotional labor, a process that at times strains and drains even as it trains, both body and soul, in trying to give rise to the embodied consciousness that the work bears. In allowing herself to be vulnerable and open to not knowing what she was doing as an artist, Carla has found incredible strength and fortitude to open up new expanding paths for her creativity and future work. Thank you and congratulations. This concludes the commencement ceremony. Congratulations to the class of 2024 and best wishes on all your future paths, collectively and individually as artists. It has been an amazing experience getting to work with all of you over the past 2 years, and you all have made incredible strides as artists and as individuals. Please join us for the opening of their thesis exhibition, Above and Below, that is being housed in the Anne Bryan Gallery immediately outside this auditorium, as well as the Broad Street Studio adjacent to the museum entrance, and the School of Fine Arts Gallery above on the second floor. Thank you all, and congratulations again.